Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back with the final Eminence commander that I haven't covered today. If you've been keeping track, I've so far completed Arabu, Inala. Yesterday we did the Air Dragon, so there's only one left. And if you've got any knowledge of Magic, you know which one it is. So please, if you like the idea of this card, or just actually, even if you don't like the idea of this card, please hit the subscribe button, help me out. Get me past this 100 and, I'd like to get up to 200 followers at some stage. I'm sitting at 145 as I record this, so, if you can get me there, the happier I'll be. Anyway, so you've probably worked out which one it is by now. And it is, of course, Edgar Markov, the one who inspired me to do this whole series on the Eminence Commanders. Because originally, when Edgar Markov, as long as this has been available on MTGO, has been kicking around about 30, 35 tickets. Over the last few weeks, this has crashed in price, and I mean literally crashed in price to the price it's at today, which is 8.15 tickets. It's down in the last couple of weeks from something around about 30. So I treated myself and bought one, and here we go. I figured then this is what really did inspire me, as I say, to do this whole series on the Eminence Commanders. So what does the deck look like? Well, it is your very traditional black, white and red vampire deck, for want of a better phrase, with all the black, red and white lands you could think of, including Field of the Dead, because zombies seem to serve vampires. I had a meeting, dragons were eating them yesterday, but they serve vampires as a rule traditionally. A whole load of lands, everything you want. Now again, this is going to be one of those decks where the price of it, when you look at it, is going to be a bit high, because I've got things like Arid Mesa in here. I've got the original dual lands like Plateaus in here, Scrublands in here. So it's not going to be cheap, and obviously with the mana side of things, it's not going to be cheap either, because we've got obviously the ramp side of it. The Tantalite, the Talisman, the Mana Crypt, the Mana Vault, Soul Ring, and then Arcane Signet, Talisman of Conviction, Talisman of Hierarchy, and Talisman of Indulgence. They're all here. I mean, they're cheap, but obviously some of the cards up here are a little bit more expensive. So but again, I want to try to do something with slightly more competitive slant on it. So how does the rest of the deck look? Well, it starts with the 1-drops, and there are a few 1-drop vampires I haven't included. I know that, but I decided to go with these. So Legion's Landings first, because we want to be making lands. As soon as we can attack with 3 vampires and get this flipped, we want to be making vampires every turn if we can. Falkenrath Gorger, might as well have it in here for the Madness ability. We are seeing a bit more discard decks at the moment, so having to discard your vampires and pay their Madness costs isn't the worst plan. Voldaire and Epicure, just for the blood token and the extra damage it does when it comes into play. It's like a mini zap, I suppose, for want of a better phrase. Blade of the Blood Chief needs to be in this deck, obviously. You need to put it on a vampire, and when a creature dies, you get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on it instead. A fantastic card in a vampire deck, as you can imagine. Elixir of Immortality, traditional for me now. Have this in to make sure that when everything gets killed off, we can shuffle it all back into our graveyard. But we've got other things. We've got Blood Artist. You expected to see this, I would imagine. Bloodthrone Vampire, you probably didn't, but I decided to include it because it gives me a sack outlet if I need to sack things off to win the game via Blood Artist. Call of the Bloodline, discard a card, which is great with a Gorger. So we can madness our creatures as well as create another Vampire Knight with a lifelink. I can activate it once a turn, but that's fine. You probably won't have the mana to do it that often. Carrier Thrall is a vampire. It's not the best vampire in the world, but it does leave us behind another blocker, and it does give us a little mana source. Child of the Night, because why wouldn't you? Dusk Legion Zealot. Draw a card, lose a life. Yep, happy with that. Vampire Interloper, a little bit of a flyer who can't block, but if you can attack with them every turn, he gets bigger, especially when Edgar's in play. Varan, Executioner of Thane's in from the new Phyrexia will be 1 set. Whenever one or more creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2, you gain 2. Be like a little bit of life gain, life loss. Cordial Vampire. Whenever Cordial Vampire or another vampire dies, put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. Hence another reason I don't mind sacking off my vampires. Damn helps control the board, along with Damnations over here as well, so we have that in as well. I did have Wrath of God in the deck, but I thought 2's enough. Falkenrath Reaver can be replaced. If you can think of a better vampire, let me know. I'll take this out and replace it, but I'll put it in just so I've got another 2-drop. Cruel Celebrant does the whole let's lose a life, gains a life. Thank you very much. Legion Lieutenant from Rivals of Ixalan. You know, other vampires you control get +1/+1. Yep, happy with that. Blood Tithe Harvester comes in as well. You might also have some of the wedding celebrators in as well, mightn't you? The blood token's quite happy. Makes it a little bit easier for removal. And Vampire Socialite. Enter the battlefield. If an opponent lost life this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each other vampire you control. As long as the opponent lost life this turn, each other vampire you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. What a fantastically complicated card. Keep it in play as much as you can. The other one I'll point out that helps with the +1/+1s is Metallic Mimic. Obviously, we name Vampire with this, and then all our creatures get a little bit of a boost in power and toughness when they come in. 3-drop, Maraven Fin Duskus Apostle is also here. Get to attack. Whenever you attack one or more non-token vampire creature you control, create a 1/1 vampire token with lifelink. Yep. Captivating Vampire. Tap 5 vampires we control, untapped, and then gain control of target creature, and it becomes a vampire. You get to nick everyone else's. Drana, Liberator of Malakir. Attack. First strike damage resolves to a player, hopefully. You get to pump all your team up. Fantastic. Love it. Vampire Nighthawk. Flying Death Touch lifelink. Not going to complain about that. Stenzia Masquerade. Creatures you control have first strike. Nice. And whenever a vampire you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Lovely. Thank you. And the Vengeance. A little bit more of a board wipe. Takes out all the small stuff. On the upside, it's also instant, so it does mean if your opponent's starting to go off and pump up the power and toughness of some of their creatures, you might be able to cast it and wipe some of them out before they get too big. Drana's Emissary, everyone loses one, you gain one at the beginning of your upkeep. Stromkirk bumps the vampires up and gives them first strike as well. And then obviously Herald's Horns here, making the vampires cheaper. Have a look at the top card of his vampire, we get to draw it. And Icon of Ancestry, another one we'll just pick vampires with, get it into play and go from there. Anointed Procession, we have a few ways of making tokens, not many, but it's worth having Anointed Procession in. Yeah, even if it doubles up our blood tokens, it would be good. Bloodline Keeper, tap it, transform Bloodline Keeper, only if you control 5 more vampires. You want to hold off playing this until you've got 5 vampires in play. You really do, and then make sure you've got 5 mana you can transform at the instant it hits the board. Ugh. Sorry, bit of a yawn. Damnation, yep, mentioned that already. Sanctum Seeker, whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. So, you know, another way, kind of good version of everything. Vampire Nocturnus is a card I completely forgot about, I have to say. And then I saw someone play it in one of their Edgar decks I was playing against earlier. And it's like, oh yeah, that definitely needs to be going purchased and picked up. And I do prefer the promo art compared to the normal art. So go and pick the promo version up. It's a lot nicer. Elanda, the Dusk Rose, you might as well have this in as well. Get some more vampires when this dies. And then we've got all 3 versions of Sorin. So the Lord of Innistrad's here to make the vampires. Obviously with this one, as soon as we play it, we -2 to get the emblem permanently. And then we worry about making vampires if we can after that. Sorin Visitor, same thing, +1 all the time for the +1 and the lifelink. Nice. Bloodhall Priest. Attacks, enters battlefield attacks. If you have no cards in hand, it deals 2 damage to any target. So you get a little bit of a shock thing going on. Not that you're going to have a place where you have no cards in hand, but yeah, still nice. And you can madness it automatically. Immerston Predator, yeah, becomes tapped, exiles 1 target card from graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on it, and you can sack a creature to give it indestructible and tap it. Ooh. Edgar's Bride is also in here in her original form. Oliviera Voldaren. Ping something, that creature becomes a vampire, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then, you know, gain control of target vampire for as long as you control Olivia. Yep, like that. Bishop of Rebirth attacks, you get to return something with 3 or less. Considering the amount of 3 or less vampires we've got, it's going to be quite powerful all the time. Drana, the Last Blood Chief, you get to do all the tricks with this as well. Defending player chooses a non-leech card in your graveyard, return that card to the battlefield. It's a vampire, +1/+1 counter on it. Yeah, it makes sense. And Malakir Blood Witch enters the battlefield. Each opponent loses life equal to the number of vampires you control, and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. Yeah, talk about life point swing if you get this to work. It's all good. Gone with the Cursed. Ooh. because we do have a lot of legendary creatures in the decks. We might as well pump them all up. And, you know, Death Touch, Lifelink, +2/+2 to all the other legendary creatures, which seems like a good idea. And it's a nice picture of a vampire for a change. And Vuna, Blood of Butcher of Magda. Yeah, nice way to blow up anything we don't like the look of. Yeah, 7 life, destroy a non-land permanent. Thank you very much indeed. And Vanquisher's Banner, the bigger version of Herald's Horn and Icon of Ancestry. Does you a card draw whenever you cast a creature spell, so it doesn't even have to resolve. Even if you cast a vampire, it gets counted, you'll get the card draw. So, yeah, fantastic for this deck from my point of view. Zengir, the Blood Baron, the Dark Blood Baron is also in. I decided to go with this version of Baron Zengir. I prefer this one from Commander Legends, and I haven't used it that often. It has the same ability, but, you know, whenever another player loses a game, you gain life equal to that player's life total as the turn began. So, you know, if you kill someone from 30, you'll gain 30. Good. There's the other version of Sorin. Well, one of the other versions. Sorin, the Vampire Lord. Target -2, deals 4 damage to any target you gain 4. +1. Up to 1 target creature gets +2/+0 until the end of turn. But if you can get the -8 off until the end of turn, each vampire you control gain control of target creature. Gain control of it. You get to keep them. You do not need to give them back at the end of turn. You get to keep them. Now, getting Sorin Vampire Lord up to 8 is tricky. I'm not going to argue that. But in a vampire deck, it could be possible. So I figured it's worth trying it out in this in this deck. What am I talking about? The Haunt of Hightower is also in. It attacks defending player discards a card, and whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on the Haunt, and it's got lifelink. So basically, the first time you attack with it, as long as someone's got a card in hand, it's going to become a 4/4 flyer or lifelink. So that kind of helps, you know, gives you life to trigger Fona. Sorin Grim Nemesis is also here. Reveal the top card of your library. Put it into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to the mana value. Deal X to anything or -9. Create a number of 1/1 black vampire knight creature tokens with lifelink equal to the highest life total amongst all players. So, you know, you might get 12, you might get 20, you might get 100, depending what people have got. Zaragas, the Thief of Heartbeats. I'm not sure this deserves to be here or not, but we have got some of the other party creatures in the deck. We've got at least a cleric and we've got a warrior. Can't remember if we've got a wizard or not. Brain's gone dead. But anyway, you might be able to get a slight cost reduction. But, you know, flying, Death Touch, haste. Give all our vampires Death Touch, which is great if they've got first strike, don't forget. And then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. Deals with some of the Super Friend decks. And finally, just to make sure we can keep the board completely under control, Blasphemous Act is here as well. And that's it. Now, this, I couldn't find the deck list for the original Edgar Markov deck that came in the box. If anyone can, please let me know. Leave me a link in the description. So I'd like to see how much different it is, and, you know, maybe I'll actually build the actual pre-con deck version of Edgar. But this is my take on Edgar. This is the last of the Eminence commanders. Hopefully we'll have something new to talk about next week. Might go back to Phyrexia or B1 to do a couple there. I've had some ideas since I've been doing this series, so might go and revisit something over there. We'll do something completely new that I've missed. But otherwise, any ideas, anything you really want to see, let me know down below, and I'll see if I can do a deck tech around it, or if I've already done one, I'll just give you a link to it in the comment when I reply. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Well, either on the stream, that's down below as well. Come and give me a follow over on Twitch, or, you know, just watch the next video and let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll see you all soon. Take care. Cheers. Bye.